13 attributes of mercy in Elul, it means that by means of the revelation of these 13 attributes of mercy, and everybody feels that Hashem is in the field, what does it mean? That he's close to us and that he's willing to forget about all the sins that we did, everything in the past. Very interesting thing, somebody wrote this in the Tanya, in the 12th chapter, it says, who is a Benoni? It says, a Benoni is a person, he never sinned in his life. Never sinned. And he never will sin. How can you possibly know a thing like that? I mean, if you never will sin. And how could there any person that he never sinned? What does it mean? Never sinned. So what it means is that when a Jew feels his true identity, then it's impossible for him to go against Hashem. We talked about this yesterday. Like a normal person, it's impossible for him to take a scissors and cut off his own finger. Unless he's like really sick. The same thing a Jew. If he really feels Hashem, it's impossible for him to do a sin. And that's the whole idea of the 13 attributes of mercy. 13 attributes of mercy are basically saying, listen, I know who you really are. God's saying, I know who you really are. That you didn't want to sin. You didn't want to do it. That's not the real you. The real you is healthy, wants to do all the Torah and mitzvahs. If you did something wrong, I have mercy on you because it wasn't the real you. You were under duress. That's the 13 attributes of mercy, the true essence of what a Jew really is. And that, of course, forgives all sins because it's the ultimate excuse. Temporary insanity. These revelation, that's what happens in the month of Elul. You feel that this is our God. This Megala, this reveals the true inner will of a Jew. We'll move on, which is explained also from what it says in the continuation of the Mimor, after the example of the king in the field. We did this yesterday, right? It says the first of the 13 attributes of mercy, and that attribute that includes all of them, the name El. The name El, this is the first, Hashem, El Rachum V'Chanun. Well, we'll say El, it's Kale, right? I don't want to keep saying Kale because nobody knows what I'm talking about. We don't say El, we say Kale, right? So the name Kale, this is the first name of the 13 attributes of mercy. Hashem, Kale Rachum V'Chanun. El Rachum V'Chanun. Hu Reshit, this is the first of the 13 attributes of mercy. And this is the source of all of them. And this includes all of them. Well, this name El, which is the essence of the 13 attributes of God's mercy, this is also the essence of every Jew. Yisra El. Inyan Shem El, this name of Hashem's name, Kael, Hu, or Ein Sof Baruch Hu Mamash. By Hashem, this is the light of God. Like it says, Kael Hashem v'Yor Elanu. This is the light of the essence of God. The Or Zeh, this light, who kamo etzem, is like the source from which it comes. Almost like it says in many places, the difference between Or and Shefa. Shefa means a flow. A flow is sort of what you can accept. A teacher gives over a Shefa to his pupil. That's his teachings. Shefa, this is the mashpia, the one who teaches or gives mitzamtzem. He articulates himself. If there's a word like that, he changes himself, so to speak, according to the receiver. So this Shefa means God, like God gives different life to a plant, and he gives to an animal, and different from an animal that he gives to a human. That's called Shefa. But Or, light, that's something like the sun. It shines on everything equally. Hu me'ena ma'or, this is like the source. If so, that's what it means in every single Jew. This name El, this is the light of the essence of God. B'chol essence Misra, in every single Jew, Meir Giluza reveals this level. Yeterim is and even more that the Gila, that the revelation of the Shem Kael, which is in every Jew, who asar, this Yisar, sar means to rule. This is what rules inside of him. This Jewish identity that he's attached to Hashem, that he's one with Hashem, that he's a servant of Hashem, that he's the son of Hashem. This is what really rules inside of every Jew. This is the dominant aspect in every Jew that makes him a Jew. The Yisrael, who otiot Yud, Sar, El. Yud means constantly. Sar is ruling. Kael, this name of Kael of Hashem. V'zeu, that's what it means at the bittul of Elokus, that the surrender, that the unification that every Jew has with God, shebakol echad miYisrael, and every Jew is bittul shelamayla mitam vadas. A Jew is unified with God in a way that's above all understanding. Ki Yisrael, because of the Jewish people, who giloi or in sof, it's the revelation of the light of God, atzmo mamash, really, shelamayla mishtalshlut, which is above all creation. That's the essence of every Jew. That's what makes a Jew a Jew. And that there's Jews that they say they don't believe in Hashem, and that's not the real essence. That's not, you can do what you want. I mean, listen, a human being is also an animal, right? A human being eats, he sleeps, he does other things. He has natural bodily functions, just like an animal does. But that doesn't mean a person is an animal. Right? Doesn't an animal, like Professor Viktor Frankl says, an airplane, it can ride on the runway, but that doesn't make it a bus. Right? All of a sudden it takes off. That's really an airplane. That's an airplane. It has lower functions. The same thing with a Jew. A Jew has lower functions, but its true identity of a Jew is this name El, namely total unification with the God who took us out of Egypt and gave us the Torah. By means of the revelation of these 13 attributes of mercy, which are in Elul, Shereshi, son, that the beginning of them and the source is the name El. Is what happens. This name El comes from God, but it's also what comes inside of us. This is who we really are. Mitorer, it arouses and mitkale and reveals Bechinat Kael, this level of Kael, in every single Jew. That's what it means. Shavuot, the Elul, that the service of God in the month of Elul is Ani Ledodi. What do you mean Ani Ledodi? Ani Ledodi means we go to Hashem. We do it all. Here we just said all these things that God is doing. He's coming to the field. He's accepting us with a nice face and giving us a smiling face. There's all the things that God is doing. Nevertheless, the whole essence of the month of Elul is that we're doing everything. Even though Shit Arut, that this arousal, that we arouse who we really are, comes from above. Why? Ki Gilui Shalamayla, this revelation from above that God reveals, that He stirs us, He turns us on. This is just a siba. It's like flipping on the switch. Right? When you flip on the switch, you put your key in the car and you turn it on, it's not your key that makes the car move. It's not your key that makes the engine start to move, that makes the combustion and makes it that takes you to a different place. It's not the key. The key is just a cause. Sha'al Yado, that by means of this, it turns on who you really are. Mitkalet reveals the inner will of a Jew, and the inner will of a Jew. So here we go. What is the Rebbe saying? The Rebbe is saying that who we really are, we don't really know. In the month of Elul, God is sort of reminding us who we are. He's reminding us, right? We are attached to the King. We are in the family of the King. We are sons of the King. We are servants of the King. That's who we really are. And the whole rest of the year, we think, I'm the King. I am the King. I call the shots. I say what to do. If I want to, all of a sudden in Elul, you realize, whoa, it's not so that God is really a creator. I'm being created. And then I'm being created for a purpose. Yesh Lomer, we can say that by means of Shagila, the revelation of the 13 attributes of mercy in the month of Elul, and we can feel it, Ma'orer, this arouses Megale and reveals the inner will of every Jew, this ale, which is the ruling element in every Jew constantly. Shaharatzon the Israel, that the desire for every Jew to come close to Hashem, hu lefi is because shem mushvashim be'atzmos, because they are rooted in the essence of Hashem. Because of this, nasa ilui, this also elevates not just the Jews, but Hashem. This makes an elevation in the 13 attributes of mercy of Hashem. We already said that Hashem gets pleasure from what we do, so Hashem is pleased. It means like this, that the whole entire creation is for the sake of the Jews. The only reason God created the world was for the sake of the Jews. It's not for the sake of the Jews that we should rule over everybody, or the sake of the Jews that we should have pleasure all day. It was created for the sake of the Jews to fix it up. Like there's some people, they say, the violin was only created for this person. For what it was, Yehudi Menuhin or someone. The piano was only created for Chopin, Beethoven. What do you mean it was created? It was created for them to use it, to make it beautiful music from it. The same thing, the world was created for the Jews to use the world properly, to reveal the harmony and beauty and blessing that's hidden in the world. The whole world, in this world, the world to come, it's all the heavens. The whole world was created for us to fix up. The meaning is lo rak lebriata olam, not just the creation of the world, not just the physical world, but even the highest revelations of godliness. It's all created just for us. In other words, including this 13 attributes of mercy, it's created for us. Sha'al Yadev Yerida, by means of this descent of the 13 attributes of mercy, Mimakomom, from their place, namely the chamber of God. What do we say? In the month of Tishrei, God is in his palace. And God shines out into the month of Elul. But it's the essence of God. This is above Ishtalshus, above the whole entire creation, above the spiritual. And it shines out into the field. Bichdei, in order, la'orer, to arouse, legalot, and to reveal the true will of every Jew, is what happens, mitkaleh, there is revealed in every Jew, sha'kavana, that God's intention, Lamailam, I'm sorry, Shahakavana, I skipped the line. Shahakavana Bahem, that the intention of the Jewish people, I'm sorry. Shahakavana Bahem, that the intention in them, in the 13 attributes of mercy, why does God even have these things? Hu bishvil, it's for the sake of the Jewish people. Sheshor shamu ba'atzmos, whose source is in our essence. It's not like in your car, you have this what is it? This teeth thing that you open up the bolts of your wheel for. It's there in the case of an emergency. You ever use it? Never use it, right? You ever get a flat tire? He gets his tires changed regularly. Never gets a flat tire. If you buy a new car, no flat tire. You have a tool. If necessary, you use the tool. It says you might think that the 13 attributes of mercy is like this, right? In case of emergency, break glass. Right? The 13 attributes, says the Rebbe, no, it's not so. The 13 attributes of mercy, that's the source of the Jewish people. And it was created only for the Jewish people to arouse them. Sheshorsha, because the source of the Jewish people is in God's essence. So that the 13 attributes of mercy are part of the world, so to speak, in regarding to the Jews. The whole world, including the 13 attributes of mercy, was created only for the Jews, to wake the Jews up. It's constantly there. Yesh lo kasher zeh, we can attach this with what it says, Melech l'sara ne'avad. Remember we had this in a previous Mimor? That the king is, how do you say, subservient to the field. A king is subservient to the field. There was a sentence we had before from Ecclesiastes. Shafilu Melech, even the king, there's no one higher than the king. Nevertheless, he is a servant to the field. Why is a king a servant for the field? Because all the food comes from the field. All the food, all the grains, what his animals eat, everything comes from the field. According to what it says in the Zohar, Man Melech, who is this king that Solomon is talking about? King Melech Shlomo is talking about in the book of Ecclesiastes, that he's the servant of the field. Dam Melech Ilah. This is the upper king. Remember, we learned this also in a Mimor. In what was it? The Mimor Eich, I think. No, it wasn't. It was in the Mimor we learned about Tzion b'mishpat tepare v'shaveh b'tzedakah. Man Melech, this is the upper king. We said that there's the Sada of Kedusha and the Sada of the La'umatzeh, and it makes everybody do tshuva, if you remember the field. This is the upper king. The Itchaber L'Sada, that he joins to the field. What's the field? We said that this is the Jewish people, that they don't know about Hashem. The king goes out into the field to arouse them. Yesh Lomar, we can say, Shagam Mechiyaso, so it is also the king, Kiviyachol, so to speak, God. That God gets his nourishment, so to speak, from the field. Namely what? Like I said, these 13 attributes of mercy, this is not just something you use for emergency. It would be nice if God didn't have to use it. But he has to use the 13 attributes of mercy. No. It's not so. That the king goes out into the field and he uses the 13 attributes of mercy, this enlivens the king, so to speak. God created the world for the Jews. If we could say it, if it didn't sound ridiculous, but it's true. God needs the Jews, just like the king needs the field for his life. Al Yadei She'yored, by means that a king goes down into those people in the field. Ki al Yadei Zeh, because by means of this, Shehakavane, he reveals that his real intention, Bo, in it, he is Bishvil Yisrael. The whole world, reason that there's a world, the whole reason that God made the whole business is for the Jewish people. Sheshorsham me'atzmos, the source of the Jewish people comes from God's essence. Who would believe it? Apparently, the Jewish people seem to be part of the world. We're human beings. We have eyes, we have nose. We have all the bodily functions and emotional functions, just like a normal person. The Jews are part of the world. There's this big, huge world, and Jews are a little speck in the world, right? They're human beings. They're people like everybody. What is a Jew? Even more, the Jews are a small speck in the world, and the Judaism, which within the Jews is a small speck of that Jew. It doesn't feel Judaism, it's hidden inside. So it's hidden, concealed. Says the Rebbe, that's the whole reason Hashem is existing. I exist, that's a ridiculous thing to say. That's the whole reason Hashem, that's what he says. The whole Hashem's whole being depends on the Jews. This doesn't make any sense, but that's the fact. The Jewish people are rooted in the Creator. The world is created for them to fix up. True. We're not selfish. We're not here to get pleasure from the world and rule over everybody, and everyone should shine our shoes. We're here to work to fix up the world. But that work in fixing up the world, that's the whole reason that God created the world. God, so to speak, needs our work. It gives him pleasure. It fills his will. It gives his essence pleasure of God. This is, of course, totally not understandable, but this is the fact. I mean, God himself is not understandable. God creates the world. We can understand that. God existed before the world existed. What does that mean? How did he exist? God doesn't really exist. He creates all existence. Some sort of God's being is totally above and beyond even the category of understanding. And that's where the Jews are rooted. That's what a Jew is. That, according to what it says in the Zohar, there is one type of a field and there's another type of a field. Sada, the Kedusha, there's a field of holiness and this field of the Umatzeh, of the opposite side. The evil field. Yesh Lomer, we can say that what it says, that the king is a servant to the field. She'al Yadeh, you read that by means of the descent. V'hamshacha, and God brings down his revelation into the field. This elevates, we said, this elevates the king himself. So which type of field are we talking about? The nice field, right? Where there's all this, the wheat and the grains and the orchards, and all right? That's the field that God depends on. Says the Rebbe, well, not exactly. Whom Beikar mainly al Yadei, by means of Shegila Yud Gimel Midas Arachamim. This is the revelation of God's 13 attributes of mercy, which are above the whole entire creation. And this is like the essence of the whole upper king. This is to the Jews that are found in the field, right? It says even in the evil field, the desert. So the worst thing in the world is for a Jew to do a sin. That's the worst thing. But incomprehensibly, by God, that's the main thing. That these people become saved. That these people realize who they really are. That's the big novelty. In heaven, the angels haven't got any doubts. There's no doubt. After a person dies, he goes to heaven. He hasn't got any urges to go against God. But in this world, people do have urges, but you don't follow them. What if a person does follow them? That's really not like the angels. That's really not. The angels don't have any urges. We have urges. But for sure, the angels don't follow their evil urges. They don't even have any evil urges. Unique to this world is that people can go against Hashem. That's unique. And even more unique is that Jews can go against Hashem. And even more unique is that a Jew can go against Hashem and then he can decide to stop going against Hashem and return to Hashem. That's the most unique of all. And that, so to speak, is really what Hashem exists for. That's what it means. The king is a slave to the field. We're talking about the evil field, the Jews that were in the desert. After this, I think we'll learn a Mimor about the sounding of the shofar. It's sort of the same message. The big shofar of the Mashiach. By means of this, Mitkale is revealed Haratzon Apimimi, the inner will of the Jewish people. The Yotziam, and it takes them out of the desert. In other words, what takes them out of the desert? That Hashem does all these amazing miracles and he forces them to go out? No. That's what it says. The month of Elul is that we do it on our own. That God makes true, he gets in the field and he shines his face and it does all, but what does it do? It arouses who we really are. Sadeh de l'umatzeh, the field of the opposite side. This is the field, it takes them from the field, from the evil field to the Sadeh Kedusha, to what's called the potentially holy field, where the king is found. He went out into the field in Elul. by means of tshuva of the Jewish people, that they were first the ultimate farness from Hashem. Mitgale od yoter, this revealed even more, hapenimiyot, the true inner essence, nature of a Jew. Sheratzonam emiti, that the true will of a Jew, even when a Jew is doing sins and he's enjoying it, is Hashem. But what? Rak sheyotzram hu shetokvam. It's just that their Yetzer Hora has overpowered them. I remember when I was, before I was religious, but not that I don't see movies now. Sometimes people bring me movies, so you have to watch this movie, and I think the last time somebody did that was like, I don't know, 20 years ago, or 15 years ago. But anyway, there was a movie called The Manchurian Candidate. You ever read this movie? Manchurian Candidate. I think it's very relevant to this. The story is that the Chinese, they get a bunch of American soldiers, take them captive, and they hypnotize them. They hypnotize them all to the point where, and they hypnotize them, and part of the hypnosis is you'll forget everything that we're hypnotizing to do. But when we call you up on the phone, they call him up on the phone, they say, take a pack of cards, and until he gets to the Queen of Hearts or something, and then all of a sudden he's really locked in to be hypnotized. And they say, now, kill the President of the United States. So the end of this thing is this guy gets hypnotized. And, the Chinese, they hypnotized him, and he goes home, doesn't remember anything. And he's in his hotel room, and they call him up and lifts up the phone, and they say, get a pack of cards. So that automatically flips him off, so he gets like a quarter hypnotized. And he takes the cards, and he starts, all of a sudden he comes to the Queen of Hearts, then he gets totally hypnotized. And then they ask him a couple questions, and they see that, it's really worked. And they say, now go to such and such a place, and the president is going to be speaking. There's a high power rifle there. He had been a soldier, he knows how to use it, and kill the king, kill the president. So the guy's totally hypnotized, and he goes up. And the plan of the Chinese is to kill the president, and the vice president is one of their guys. So the end of the movie is that has the sights on the king, on the president, and suddenly at the last moment, it awakens in him his essence. He is an American patriot. Patriotism awakens in him what his essence is, that he's an American, or maybe not even that he's an American, that he is, a person with a conscience. He can't just kill president. And he turns the gun on the vice president, kills him. And it was all of a sudden, he realized who he really is. That's the point of this thing. And that, what he was doing before, that was because he was hypnotized. He was hypnotized. And that's what it's saying over here. The same thing. A Jew does a sin. It's because the Yetzer Hora hypnotizes them. It overpowers them. But that's not the real Jew. Ukapirish at Tzemach Tzedek, like the Tzemach Tzedek says on the sentence, Ki b'sadeh matza'ah tza'aka na'ara ein moshi Allah. There's a sentence that says that if a man rapes a woman in a city and she doesn't cry out for help, then she's an accomplice in the crime to a certain degree. And if a man rapes a woman, though, in a field and she doesn't yell out, then she's not an accomplice, because what would her screaming out help? Ki b'sadeh matzah, he found her in a field, tzaka na'ara, if she screams out, ein moshiach, no one's going to come to help her. This is called the field, the evil field. There's nobody there, only evil people that want to harm her. That's what the Jewish people who are found in a regular field, and they're found in an evil field. Shagam keshenara, even when the young lady, that's the soul, is in this field, which is the evil field, the field of the opposite side. V'yaterim is doing even more. Shezeh goram, that Esav, who Esav is, right, the evil brother of Yaakov, right? Esav he's called an Ish Sadeh. He's called the man of the field, the evil field. He rapes her, he grabs a hold of her. V'shechavima, the Jewish soul is found in the evil field. And it could be that the world even, I say, It forces them to do sins. Hine, even then, haratzon and the neshama, the real true will of the soul, is in kedusha, is holiness. V'hit so'ekes, and the soul, even when the Jew is doing sins, and he's encouraging others to do sins, but the soul is screaming out, b'mar nafsha, bitterly, al zeh she'esav ish sada, the Esav machzik bo is raping her. The soul itself is screaming out that the world is forcing her to do things that are not Jewish. Saka anara, that's the scream of the soul. But by means of this, ayin, don't say there is no one to save her, but ayin, God, Ein Sof, Moshiach will save her. In other words, every single Jew, even if he doesn't know it, his soul is screaming out, and especially the Jews that are the furthest away from Hashem, their souls are screaming out to Hashem. And because of this soul is screaming out, Hashem will help. The person doesn't even know he's not, it could be doesn't even know he's Jewish. His mother didn't know she was Jewish. His grandmother didn't know. This person is Jewish and he's doing the sins, he doesn't even know their sins. Nevertheless, the soul is screaming out, help. And because of that, Nimshach lo Yeshua, there will be drawn down, help. Mibechinet ayin, from this level of ayin Moshiach. The level of ayin, which is above the whole of Shtalshlus, will save her. Kiven, and since Shegiloi Ratzon Penimi, since the inner will of the Jewish people, from their source in God's essence, is that by means of doing tshuva. Now, doing tshuva, again, is something that a Jew always must do. Even those Jews that were in the desert, the true essence of a Jew is to return, to be close to Hashem. This is found in the furthest away Jews, and it's found in the biggest tzaddikim. Hashem is not unlimited. He's creating us unlimited. And therefore, when a Jew actually does turn around and comes closer to his Creator, and the further away that he is, this turning around is harder and harder. And so therefore, God gives the 13 attributes of mercy, which is the essence of every Jew anyway, to help him. Well, when that happens, there's an elevation in the 13 attributes of mercy. When a Jew uses them, this arouses the person. This is mainly al yedei shemorim et eila. This is mainly, what is this purpose of the 13 attributes of mercy? The essence of the Jewish people, the essence of God. This is mainly when it arouses those people who are the ultimate farthest. So what's the Rebbe saying over? The Rebbe is saying that somehow or other, incredibly, the connection between Hashem and the Jewish people is from the essence, the very essence of God and the essence of the Jewish people. It's totally above any sort of comprehension. Totally above and beyond any explanation. But that's the essence of a Jew. And that's why we see that there are Jews willing to give their lives, even non-religious Jews, and not to deny their Judaism. And that's why I brought this story about the Manchurian Candidate. A little bit bizarre, but that no matter how hypnotized the Jew can get, but still he realizes his true identity. There's such a thing like this. That's what it means. Ani ladodi v'dodi li. That's what it means. I am to my beloved, and my beloved is to me. So again, what did we say? That in the month of Elul, all Hashem does is he opens up the door. He gives us opportunity. But opening up the door and give us opportunity, he has to open up a lot of doors. He has to open up the door to the essence of our soul. And that's what it means that he shines as he receives everyone with a nice face, and he shines a smiling face. He reveals his true essence to every Jew. It's there. And the true essence of every Jew is also there. But the essence of every Jew is hidden. And in Elul, the essence of God is a little bit revealed. And this then encourages the Jew that maybe I should start doing everything on my own. I should come closer to Hashem. It all depends on me. And this gives God tremendous pleasure. In a way, this is the reason for God's existence. We have to understand something. You say, what are you talking about? How old is the world? How old is the world? God is eternal. How old is the world? Even according to the scientists or whatever, the world is 50 trillion years ago. What does it make? Right? And God is infinite. So God existed all this time without the Jews. So all of a sudden, the essence of God is the Jews. Well, the fact of the matter is this is not true. This is not true. Time only began when God created the world. The Jews existed one with God before God created the world. That's the Mimor you're going to say in your bar mitzvah. 2,000 years before the world was created, the Torah was there. And the Jews are higher than the Torah. What does it mean 2,000 years? So it explains, it's a Kabbalistic idea, what it means. So the Jews are the essence of Hashem, means that the whole idea of time and space and world, it was only created with the Jews in mind. The Jews were there beforehand. The Jews are as primal to existence as God is. Does that make any sense? That's what I mean. It's above sense. It doesn't make any sense. But the Jews are here in the world to reveal this to the world also, that this God cares about every individual, not just about the Jews, cares about every human being. That's why he creates them. That's what we're chosen to tell everybody about. But it all starts off in the month of Elul. The king is in the field, lets us know that there is a king, lets us know who we really are, how special the Jews are, how Hashem is dependent on our serving him. As we will talk about more, God willing, tomorrow, Friday, Rosh Chodesh. This is also Rosh Chodesh today.